For years, one question has echoed through the fandom of Sister Wives: how did it all fall apart? We've watched the slow, painful erosion of a plural family, a grand vision that crumbled into dust and recrimination. But the prevailing narrative, carefully curated by the family's patriarch and his favored wife, paints a story of victims and villains, of loyalty and betrayal. What if that wasn't the real story? What if the story we were shown was a smokescreen for a much more complex and strategic game being played behind the scenes? What if the women we were led to believe were casualties were actually brilliant strategists who learned the rules of a rigged game and decided to flip the board? We open with a clip that has become almost iconic for its perceived insincerity: Robyn Brown, her voice thick with emotion, saying, "I just wanted to be a sister wife and have a big family." For years, this was the mission statement, the justification, the foundation of her influence. Robyn wrote the rules of engagement for the Brown family. She established precedents, defined boundaries, and controlled the emotional tenor of every interaction. But she made one fatal error common to arrogant strategists throughout history. She never imagined that other players would read her playbook, learn her tactics, and use them against her. This isn't a story of a family that failed. It's a story of how Janelle and Christine Brown won the war using the enemy's own tactics. From the moment Robyn entered the Brown family, she implemented her first rule with breathtaking efficiency: prioritize your own children above all else. This wasn't a suggestion. It was framed as a moral imperative. To be a good mother, she argued, was to fiercely advocate for your own children's needs, feelings, and comfort, regardless of the impact on the larger family. The infamous 11-day honeymoon with Kody wasn't indulgent. It was necessary for her children, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna, to bond with their new father figure. To question it would be to question the well-being of innocent children. Robyn had created a self-perpetuating logic loop. The family's prime directive became serving the emotional needs of her nuclear family unit. Kody fell completely under this sway, equating being a good father with catering to Robyn's children above all others. This pattern continued relentlessly. When the family chose wedding dresses for the commitment ceremony, Robyn's preference for a specific, expensive gown was framed as necessary for her children's emotional healing. Her moves, like relocating to Las Vegas and then Flagstaff, were justified as prioritizing Dayton's college needs or providing stability for her children. While the other wives made compromises, Robyn's needs and her children's needs became the family's central concern. Kody's focus and the family's collective resources were funneled into her priorities, while Janelle and Christine were left sidelined. For a decade, Robyn's rule was a shield and a sword, allowing her to demand more time, resources, and attention without appearing selfish. The most studious pupil of Robyn's methods was Janelle. Stoic, pragmatic, and logical, she had long been underestimated. While Robyn's motherhood was dramatic and emotional, Janelle's was quiet, steady, and unwavering. As her sons Gabe and Garrison matured, they saw the inequity in Robyn's playbook. The catalyst came with the CO rules Kody attempted to impose, ostensibly pandemic measures, which were in reality designed to protect his and Robyn's bubble at the expense of everyone else. When Kody demanded that Janelle evict her adult sons, she used Robyn's own logic against her. Choosing her children, she analyzed their immediate needs. Garrison was saving for a home. Gabe was maintaining his education and social life. Forcing them out would be harmful and in line with Robyn's own rule. Janelle prioritized her children above Kody's demands. Kody's reaction was shock and rage, not because Janelle was wrong, but because the rule had never been intended for anyone else. She exposed the hypocrisy of the system and reclaimed the standard for her own family. The second rule in Robyn's strategy was forming an unbreakable two-person alliance and establishing it as the family's central authority. From the start, Kody and Robyn operated as a co-presidency, making private decisions before presenting them to the family. Any objection from the other wives meant standing against this united front. For a decade, their alliance was impenetrable. They never imagined Christine and Janelle would forge their own alliance. Initially cordial but distant, Christine and Janelle's shared experience of being sidelined created a bond. During the pandemic, as Kody isolated himself with Robyn, they began forming their own functional family unit, collaborating and sharing intelligence. They fact-checked Kody's claims, cross-referenced excuses, and exposed the manipulation. They were no longer isolated, they had a trusted ally. This alliance gave them courage and became a new center of family power, demonstrating that a partnership built on shared truth and respect could rival one built on secrecy and manipulation. Robyn's third rule was controlling the narrative through the weaponization of emotion, specifically her own victimhood. Robyn's tears were tactical deployments, powerful shields, and justifications that reframed conflicts and silenced opposition. Any attempt to argue for fairness was met with tears, immediately shifting the conversation. Kody's protective instinct reinforced Robyn's control. She claimed to receive the scraps while absorbing the majority of family resources, using performative sorrow to justify her demands. For a decade, this tactic was nearly unbeatable, leaving the other wives trapped between logic and emotional manipulation. Christine, however, turned the same tool against her. In a pivotal backyard confrontation, she asked, "What does the nanny do?" A simple question that exposed Kody and Robyn's hypocrisy. Hurrah! Authentic emotion highlighted the disparity between the rules imposed on the family and the privileges maintained for Robyn, unlike Robyn's manufactured tears. Christine's emotion was genuine and powerful, seizing control of the narrative. It shattered Robyn's victimhood and laid bare the imbalance, proving that authentic emotion rooted in truth could overpower manufactured sorrow. With Robyn's playbook deconstructed and its core tenets turned against her, the path to freedom was clear. Christine and Janelle didn't stop at quiet rebellion, they declared victory through decisive action. Their departures were strategic masterpieces, providing irrefutable proof of the toxicity they escaped. Christine thrived post-divorce, her happiness serving as evidence of the oppressive environment she left. Janelle's departure was logical and calm, demonstrating through reasoned actions that the partnership with Kody and Robyn was untenable. Together, their exits reframed the narrative. Robyn's long-sought victory became a hollow achievement, a cage instead of a crown. Kody and Robyn were left isolated, facing a fractured family, while Christine and Janelle emerged liberated, vindicated, and strategically triumphant. Kody and Robyn's defeat boiled down to arrogance. They assumed they were the only intelligent players, misjudged the other wives, and believed their alliance and emotional control were unassailable. Christine and Janelle proved superior by being adaptable, learning the new rules, and using Robyn's strategies better than she did. The ultimate prize was freedom, not control. Kody and Robyn were left trapped in the victory they thought they wanted, while Christine and Janelle not only escaped but thrived, securing personal and public vindication. They didn't just win the war, they won the peace. So, which of Robyn's rules was the most satisfying to see turned against her? Was it Janelle prioritizing her children? The alliance of Christine and Janelle dismantling the Kody-Robyn block? Or Christine's authentic emotion shattering the manufactured narrative? Each move demonstrated strategic brilliance and ultimately cemented their triumph. For years, fans of Sister Wives have asked the same question: how did it all fall apart? We witnessed a plural family, once a grand vision, crumble slowly under the weight of conflict, resentment, and unspoken rules. But the story we were told, carefully curated by Kody and his favored wife Robyn, painted a picture of victims and villains, loyalty and betrayal. What if that story was just a smokescreen for a far more complex game? What if the women we were led to believe were powerless casualties were in fact brilliant strategists who learned the rules of a rigged game and chose to rewrite them on their own terms? Robyn's words became a mantra for years. "I just wanted to be a sister wife and have a big family." It seemed heartfelt, but it was also her playbook. She set the rules, established precedents, and dictated the emotional tone of the family. Yet she never imagined that others would read her strategies, learn her tactics, and turn them against her. This is the story of how Janelle and Christine mastered that playbook to win a war Robyn never saw coming. From the moment Robyn joined the family, her guiding principle was clear: prioritize her own children above all else. This wasn't a suggestion. It was framed as a moral imperative. Being a good mother meant fiercely advocating for her children's needs, feelings, and comfort, no matter the cost to the larger family. The infamous 11-day honeymoon with Kody wasn't indulgence. It was necessity for her children to bond with a new father. To question it was to question the well-being of innocent kids. Through this rule, Robyn created a self-reinforcing system. The family's prime directive became serving her nuclear family, and Kody, seeing himself as a protective father, fell completely under this influence. Robyn applied this logic to every decision: wedding dresses, relocations to Las Vegas and Flagstaff, and even housing choices were all justified as prioritizing her children's emotional stability or educational needs. While other wives compromised, Robyn's priorities became the family's focus, with resources, energy, and Kody's attention all directed to her demands. For a decade, this rule allowed her to wield power without appearing selfish. Yet the most attentive student of Robyn's methods was Janelle. Often seen as stoic and pragmatic, she had been underestimated for years. While Robyn's motherhood was dramatic and highly visible, Janelle's approach was quiet, consistent, and deeply devoted. As her sons Gabe and Garrison grew older, they began to notice the inequities in Robyn's system. The conflict came to a head when Kody imposed CO rules that effectively protected his and Robin's bubble. He demanded Janelle evict her adult sons, forcing her to choose between him and her children. Janelle applied Robin's own logic, prioritizing her son's well-being over Kody's demands. Garrison, saving for a home, and Gabe, balancing college and mental health, would have been harmed if removed. Choosing her children wasn't rebellion, it was a perfect execution of Robin's own playbook. Kody's reaction was one of shock and outrage. He could not comprehend a world in which Robin's rules applied to anyone else. Janelle's decision exposed the hypocrisy that had long governed the family. What had been acceptable for Robin and her children could now be mirrored by another wife. In that moment, Janelle reclaimed the family standard and demonstrated that the rule of prioritizing one's children could be a weapon in the hands of anyone who knew how to use it. The first rule had been turned against its creator, but the game was far from over. Robin's second rule was equally powerful: form an unbreakable two-person alliance and establish it as the family's central authority. From the very beginning, Kody and Robin operated as a duo that overshadowed the other wives. Their partnership wasn't just marital. It was a co-presidency that controlled the family's decisions before anyone else could weigh in. Major moves like relocating to Flagstaff were presented as inevitable, a done deal. Behind the scenes, Kody and Robin would anticipate objections, rehearse responses, and align their messaging. Any wife who opposed them wasn't just disagreeing with Kody. She was standing against a seemingly united, harmonious couple, which made dissent feel both futile and disloyal. Their alliance became the family's executive hub, a center of power where communication and influence flowed through them. Kody's goals became Robin's goals, and Robin's needs became his priorities. For a decade, this two-person unit crushed opposition and reshaped the family in their image. But even the strongest alliance creates its own weaknesses. Christine and Janelle, initially cordial but not particularly close, began to forge their own bond through shared experience of being sidelined. Christine, the family's emotional heart, and Janelle, the pragmatic provider, found common ground. The pandemic accelerated their connection. As Kody sequestered himself with Robin, Christine and Janelle spent more time together with their children, shared holidays, and leaned on each other for support. What began as friendship evolved into strategy. They started sharing observations, comparing notes, and verifying facts that Kody had previously manipulated to keep them divided. In effect, they were breaking his code. They could see inconsistencies, spot deception, and confirm each other's experiences. This shared intelligence became the foundation of their emerging power. Through this alliance, Christine gained courage and Janelle found validation. Their holidays and joint family gatherings were no longer just social events. They were statements of intent, demonstrating that the family could thrive without the Kody-Robin command center. Christine's eventual decision to leave wasn't impulsive. It was strategically orchestrated, with Janelle providing quiet but unwavering support. Christine became the first to breach the walls, the tip of the spear, absorbing initial shock and fury from Kody. Janelle's steady backing ensured that Christine's exit couldn't be dismissed as an emotional tantrum. Together, they mirrored Robin's strategy of an exclusive, powerful alliance, but this time with the goal of dismantling control rather than consolidating it. Their partnership became a new center of gravity in the family. By forming an alliance built on transparency, truth, and mutual respect, they proved that such a bond was more powerful than secrecy, manipulation, and emotional coercion. The Kody-Robin command had relied on isolation and fear. The Christine-Janelle alliance thrived on connection and clarity. They shifted the narrative, reclaimed influence, and laid the groundwork for the next phase of the rebellion, one that would expose Robin's final rule and the weakness of her emotional dominance. With the second rule challenged, the final cornerstone of Robin's strategy remained: control the narrative through the weaponization of emotion, specifically her own victimhood. For years, Robin had mastered this tactic. Her tears and self-pity reframed conflicts, turning legitimate concerns into moral dilemmas where opposing her equated to cruelty. When Christine or another wife raised valid objections, Robin's sobs redirected the conversation, shifting sympathy and attention to her and forcing Kody to defend her. Her claims of deprivation, like lamenting that she got the scraps, allowed her to absorb resources and privileges, while maintaining the illusion of being the underdog. In this way, Robin's emotional manipulation was virtually untouchable, leaving the other wives trapped in a cycle where questioning her meant proving her narrative right. But emotion is a double-edged sword. Christine, long portrayed as overly sensitive and dismissed for her feelings, transformed her frustration into strategic power. Years of being sidelined had tempered her raw emotion into a disciplined force. The turning point came during the now iconic backyard confrontation. where Kody's strict CO rules had kept him from seeing his children, even as he employed a nanny who came and went freely at Robin's house. Christine's simple, pointed question, "What does the nanny do?" was a tactical strike. It exposed blatant hypocrisy while forcing Kody into a position where any honest answer would betray his control or reveal inconsistency. Christine's emotion was not performative. It was righteous and raw, her voice shaking with genuine frustration, cut through the decades of orchestrated sorrow and manipulation. She didn't need to scream or argue. The truth of her question did the work. The power of this moment lay in its authenticity. Where Robin's tears had been a shield, Christine's emotion became a weapon to illuminate the truth. Kody, caught off guard, sputtered and raged, unable to respond logically. In that instant, the emotional battlefield that Robin had dominated for over a decade was decisively turned against her. The significance of this moment extended beyond immediate confrontation. It demonstrated that authentic, principled emotion could dismantle manufactured victimhood. It gave Janelle the evidence she needed to act. Witnessing Christine's triumph, Janelle understood that Kody and Robin's empire of control was built on fragile, performative foundations. Together, Christine and Janelle's alliance had exposed the system, reclaimed the narrative, and shifted the family's power dynamic. By turning Robin's own tactic against her, they revealed the emptiness of her curated sorrow and the unfairness of the family hierarchy. For the first time, the power of truth and genuine emotion eclipsed manipulation and deceit. The stage was set for the final phase, a strategic exit that would serve as irrefutable proof of their independence and ultimate victory.